also watch us live on our website on www.coretvnews.com, a 24-hour news station. Come June 21, it will be decision day for the people of Ekiti. 18 candidates are gunning for one seat.
I am the next governor of Ekiti.
But the people will have the final say.
I know that tolerance has a very big place.
Join extensive coverage of the election and get up to the many details as development unfolds.
I'm the voice of the Ekiti people.
With expert analysis, political team on television,
and that's honesty of island without.
Join us all. One. Find out who emerges the next governor of Ekiti State.
We have agreed to move this state forward.
Keep a date with us on Core TV News. You can also watch us live on our website on www.coretvnews.com, a 24-hour news station. Come June 21, it will be decision day for the people of Ekiti. 18 candidates are gunning for one seat.
I am the next governor of Ekiti.
But the people will have the final say.
I know.
Core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
Core TV News, expanding your view.
Hello everyone, welcome to Core TV Primetime News with Nifemi Oguntoye. In our major stories, federal government wants Nigerians to be more security conscious at football viewing centers ahead kickoff of the 2014 FIFA World Cup in Brazil. Also in this program, normalcy appears in the horizon as Lagos State conscious during the one-month-long 2014 The Patrons. This warning is against the backdrop of recent bomb attack on viewing centers in some parts of northern Nigeria.
The federal government, through its agencies, wishes to express its appreciation to concerned Nigerians for making use of the security alert telephone numbers provided to the public. Security alert and response. However, we are worried over the level of false information being distributed to members of the public that are using the telephone numbers to settle personal scores. The government is hereby advising Nigerian citizens once again, particularly football enthusiasts, to be extra vigilant and cautious.
Owners of have been advised and are still being advised to go the extra miles of trying to secure the viewing centers. We expect persons who are operating large viewing centers to establish synergies with local security officials within their areas.
Britain and United are giving a statement in the House of Commons about the in Brussels last week. He says he discussed in his bilateral meeting with President Barack Obama what he believes is the greatest threat to world security and how to counter extremism and the terrorist threat. He added that he and Obama were committed to the effort abducted since April 14 from the Government Girls Secondary School in Borno State. Delta State Governor Emmanuel Duha has ordered all the in Delta State dismantled immediately. The governor, who spoke at the 2014 Law Week of the Warri of the Nigerian Bar Association, says the roadblocks, especially in Warri areas, have outlived their usefulness. He, however, stated that those at strategic locations are to be removed gradually. The governor also called for the institution of true federalism in Nigeria, expressing hope that the National Conference entrench the practice of federalism in its true sense. He praised democracy and leadership in Nigeria and lamented that the system as currently practiced in Nigeria was an unfair departure from the tenets and principles of the concept of federalism. The governor hails the NBA for constructively drawing attention of government to critical issues devoid of usual sycophancy, describing the trend as a great support to his administration. The Lagos State government says it has approved a slash between 34 and 60% in the tuition fees of the state university, otherwise called LASU. The special advisor to Governor Babatunde Fashola on education, Fatayo Lukoga, disclosed these at the media briefing. Abiola Oluwole was there. His report was presented from our studios.
Before now, the Upper Review attracted huge outcry and disapproval from both students and general public. This resulted in a series of widespread protests that paralyzed activities on the campus.
Fees, a reduction ranging from 34% to 60% is possible across different faculties and courses. 10. Government has therefore approved, according with the law setting up the university, forwarded its approval to the University Governing Council for consideration and implementation. Pursuant to its statutory mandate, the University Governing Council will issue details of what is now payable by students in each department and deal with all other management matters of the university.
Parts of the resolution includes the option of a second term for the Vice-Chancellor of the school under the prerogative of the state government.
Government will take the position of a second term for Vice-Chancellor in order to benefit from good leadership whenever the occasion arises. 16. In the same vein, employees cannot unilaterally insist on being appointed or promoted to position that, especially where there are over 200 vacant positions yet to be filled in the same institutions.
Lecturers and LASU students have been on and protests over high tuition fees and other problems facing the institution.
Nigeria's Labour Movement is questioning the rationale behind the planned tariff increase by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC. The leadership of workers' unions voiced their opposition to higher electricity tariff at a supply. They also noted that in spite of the tariff review, as the
appropriate metering mechanism. So the people there will use estimation is 1 naira per kilowatt hour. They will charge 5 naira by estimation in order to recruit people. They will have meters to the fuel because that will not give them the required money. So how do you now?
The kind of feedback you are giving us now is quite but also by process. What I just want to point is, yes, we don't go public change. We do a lot of consultation. One like people show you, this is what I call automatic adjustment. It's already in the process that this is how it will happen. And how it's provided for law is that we advertise, we go to CBO. Not everybody says the facts we are taking from proper custody. The CBO is no way of paying the interest rates. We are going to pay the exchange value. We go to the proper custodian. So what it is more like routine work really. They are just
President Goodluck Jonathan and members of his cabinet have paid tribute to former information minister Akinwumi, who died last Saturday in India. The Federal Executive Council was largely devoted to the late resilience and contribution to national development. All the ministers hailed Professor Akinwumi, home of the interim national chairman of the Okoro, was there and filed in this report.
In furtherance of their campaign efforts ahead of the state's governorship election on August 9, the Osun APC's political train made a stop at Ila local government area of the state, a town of over 300,000 people who trooped to the street to catch a glimpse of the broom-waving governor and his supporters. On arrival in Ila Oragun, Governor Rauf Aregbesol's first port of call was the palace of the Oragun Ile-Ila. Afterwards, he proceeded to the rally ground. The event started in earnest. In the course of the event, the national chairman of the APC, Bisi Akonde, and the state commissioner for information and strategy, Sunday Akere, both highlighted the bond between the Osun APC and the Ila people.
This is a place where they have never done any other party in the last 30 years. There is no way, things can change.
We know that the people of these constituencies support Progressive Party, and we are going to vote for him 100%. We are going to return Ogbeni Abraham Aregbesola, and the assurance we are giving him is that he should be rest assured of our support.
The first civilian governor of Isiaka Adeleke, who only recently defected from the PDP to the APC, says he's coming to the winning margin of the party.
Ordinarily, I would have said they will win, but not as expected. But with me now, it have increased the margin by 30%. I'm looking at about 80%.
The State Commissioner for Finance, Wale Bolonroduro, says Osun State risks dwindling economic fortunes if the incumbent is now returned to office.
The challenge that we have now is if there is a change of government, the state may not be able to survive. Why? Because you may not have somebody who is very, very intelligent, who is very, very stingy. He's very stingy even to himself.
A stalwart of APC, Peter Babalola, expresses confidence that the APC will emerge victorious in the August 9 election.
Seeing is believing. We can see ourselves what is happening. 15 days ago, Ife. 8 days ago, Irewole. Today, Ila. Maybe opposition may be fighting for the remaining 15%. 85% are already gone.
However, the state governor Rauf Aregbesola used the event to comment on the recent event in Ekiti State.
What happened in Ekiti is a sad commentary on the interest of Nigeria Police Force, particularly in Ekiti, to foster democracy.
As you can see, it is quite a crowd out here at the last stadium, Osun Central, where the Osun APC are having their third rally in the state. Now, as to whether this will translate to a win for the party in the forthcoming election in the state, we would have to wait till August 9 to find out. Beat Okoro, OTV News, Osun.
Thank you, Beat. Away from southwest now to northern Nigeria, where the Kano state government has distributed 1,000 tricycles to people affected by the recent ban on commercial motorcycles in the city center. Local transport unions had asked for time to adjust to the ban, but the government has now provided alternatives for motorcyclists affected by the ban. Amina Nebi has more in this report presented.
State.
We have agreed to move this state forward.
Keep in date with us and quoting the news. You can also watch us live on our website on www.coretvnews.com, a 24-hour news station.
Core TV News presents a platform with presence in over 30 states of the Federation. Be sure to be here. For live coverage of events, we have the capacity to deliver from anywhere in Nigeria and beyond. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733, 014-533-407.
Our 24-hour news station.
Hello there, you're welcome to the world of business. I am Sabena Izoku. The Central Bank of Nigeria has sought a collaboration with the Institute for International Finance, RIAF, on the management of foreign bank subsidiaries. This will help prevent the banking crisis that may result from the cross-border expansion due to lack of management or adequate supervision of the foreign subsidiaries. According to the Deputy Governor, Sarah Alade, economic policy, the banking crisis in the Nigerian banking system exposed immense potential that could result from the cross-border expansion and underscores the need for effective cooperation between the host and parent country authorities for banks with international operations. The Minister of Petroleum Resources, Desiani Alassane Madueke, the 12th member of the OPEC, Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, has agreed to renew its oil production ceiling of the 13 million barrels a day for the second half of the year. OPEC is satisfied with the oil prices around $110 a barrel for Brent crude, comfortably above its preferred price of $100 a barrel. Some member countries, Libya and Iran, are producing well below capacity because of civil conflicts and sanctions respectively helping support prices. In its end meeting communique, confirmed OPEC also said the next meeting will take place on November 27th and the Secretary General Abdullah Al-Badri term will be extended to the 30th of June 2015. Nigeria had nominated Oil Minister Diezani Alison Madueke to succeed long-serving incumbent Al-Badri as OPEC Secretary General. The African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank shareholder, has reinvested $20.5 billion recommended by the Board of Directors as dividends into the equity of the bank. The decision, which shareholders during the bank's 21st annual general meeting in Gabon says the reinvestment will help to ensure Afreximbank comply with the minimum capital adequacy ratio targets of 20%, which it had set for itself. President of the bank, Jean-Louis Ekra, quoted by the statements as saying, the decision reflected the strong confidence the shareholders had in the management of the bank. According to Ekra, the total assets of the bank had jumped by 19% to $4.4 billion from $3.7 billion in 2012, with the shareholders' fund rising from $178 million in 1999 to $707 million in 2013. The AMCON Chief Executive, Mustafa Chike Obi, during a press conference says Nigeria's financial system is solid and has returned to growth and profitability as a result of the intervention of the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON. This in spite of the fears by rating agency Standard & Poor's, S&P, that industry-wide non-performing loans, NPLs, may spike in about 2 years. Data from AMCON shows that it spent 5.6 trillion naira on its mandate, giving banks more capacity to lend to the private sector. Standard & Poor's revised its outlook on its 5 rated Nigerian financial institutions, Access Bank, First Bank, Stanbic IBTC, GTB Bank, and Zenith Bank, to negative from stable in April 2014 due to its earlier revised outlook to the southern Nigeria to reflect heightened political and institutional risk. AMCON plans to sell at least 2 of the 3 bridge banks, Enterprise and Mainstream Bank, by mid-September 2014, with at least 25 people and institutions has so far expressed interest in purchasing Mainstream Bank. The Naira closed body flat early losses after news by the state-owned energy firm NNPC to banks filtered into the market. The Naira closed at 162.90 Naira to a dollar, later changed from its close of 162.85 the previous day. It hit a day's low of 163.45 Naira to a dollar on Wednesday before rebounding on the news that the NNPC has sold around $200 million to lenders towards the close of trade. We have less than 24 hours for the Brazil World Cup coming up. That's on Sport News with Brancy Owena. That's in a moment. Stay with us.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball, storming, takes Puyol with a flying lead.
Bo taking them out in the lead and
Very big thanks for joining us on Sport News tonight. I am Brownson Wana. Former Secretary General of the Nigerian Football Federation, Bolaji Ojoba, said the Super Eagles might be shown the exit door in the first round of the 2014 World Cup if they underrate their group opponents. Coach Stephen Keshi's men uphold in Group F alongside Bosnia, Iran, Argentina of the 20th edition of the Quadral Global Football June 16th at the Arena da Bexanda in Cordoba. And away from that, Galatasaray have announced the departure of manager Roberto Mancini after just 9 months in charge of the job. The Turkish club said the 48-year-old Italian, who guided Manchester City to the Premier League title in 2011-2012, had departed by mutual consent. Mancini led Galatasaray to second place in their domestic the last 16th of the UEFA Champions League. In a statement, the club thanked Mancini for his effort and wished him happiness in his next mission. And now to the world of tennis, where 8 British players have been given single wild card for this month's Wimbledon Championship, joined by Andy Murray and Watson at All England's club. Defending single champions Murray and world number 96 Watson have both qualified automatically, while world number 80 Laura Robson will be absent through injury. British number 6 and rising star Kyle Edmund, a junior Wimbledon semi-finalist last year, will make his second appearance in the main draws. He will be joined by British number 2 to 5 Dan Evans, James Ward, Daniel Cox and Daniel Smetsford. The news is encouraging for 4 years after only 2 British men players were involved in the main draws. And finally, on Sport News tonight, to the NBA Finals, where San Antonio Spurs took a 2-1 lead in the best of 7 NBA Finals with a 111-92 victory over Miami Heat. It was the first home loss of the playoffs for Heat, for whom LeBron James and Dwayne Wade both scored 22 points. Kyle Leonard scored a career-high 29 points for Spurs in a game they dominated from the start, hitting 19 of their first 21 shots, an NBA Finals record. Game 4 is in Miami on Thursday. And that's my final whistle on Sport News tonight. My name is Bronson One, and Ifemi will be back with the rest of the story. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back from sports as we say go for gold Super Eagles of Nigeria. And now to top story making headline on the foreign scene as many as 500,000 Iraqis fled their homes as jihadis tighten their grip beyond the city of Mosul, vowing an even broader offensive. Members of the jihadist group also seized the Turkish consulate in Mosul.
This Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan
Democratic Party
of the Western countries
Hello and welcome to News Judgment. I am Frank Omalape. Well, we're back here tonight to take a look at some of the news breaking earlier, and of course very interesting stories are breaking that might likely to be the lead story on the newspaper tomorrow. And taking a look at some of the story earlier today breaking, it's Southwest APC state to observe June 12th as a public holiday, and of course to dedicate that day to celebrate the late Abiola MKO or Abiola. And another story breaking earlier today as well is memorial lecture also will be held in that in that respect as well at Airport Hotel tomorrow in that regard. And of course fashion, one of the factional leader of the Oodua People's Congress urged federal government to declare June 12th as a unity day. Well, these are some of the stories breaking today. And of course, I have with me in the studio here my call appearance, Dan Alo, an in-house analyst, and of course he's also a news editor. Well, thank you for joining me again.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's good doing this with you again tonight.
Now, quickly, if you look at this June 12th, it seems to this time around is going to be very special because we have a whole lot of activities organized in that respect.
Yes, June 12th is a very significant date to Nigeria. For the first time in the history of modern Nigeria, it was a day Nigeria conducted the freest and the fairest election without rancor. June 12th has several implications to our democracy. The military, for the first time, acknowledged that we have an election in Nigeria that could have ushered in a president for Nigeria after a long years of military rule. Again, the man who won the election is MKO Abiola, is a very iconic figure in the history of Nigeria. And so there had been this argument if May 29 should be Nigeria's Democracy Day or June 12. Now, and there had been suggestion that we actually attained democratic and civil rule, on May 29. But we had an inclination leaning towards attainment on June 12. So, Fashion, the OPC leader, Dr. Frederick Fashion, is now suggesting, okay, if these two things are bringing contest, why don't we just identify June 12 as a unity day? The history of Nigeria will not be complete without the mention of MKO Abiola. There's no way anybody can wish him away.
Maybe that's why we're even having a memorial lecture planned for tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Now let's see where these might take in the dailies tomorrow.
You will definitely find all of this on the front pages of the newspapers tomorrow, because that particular day is tomorrow, and then people would want to remember the phenomenal events of June 12.
Okay, now let's begin proper now and taking a look at some of the very interesting stories breaking here. Is the last that we heard about the Chibok bill, but this time around, court declares disruption of protests illegal, and that's the fact that one of the House member, Dino Melaye, went about disrupting the protest that was held in Abuja, and the court has declared that disruption as illegal.
What actually happened on that day was that the Nigeria police didn't allow a protest that was planned, and so Dino Melaye and his group, who had planned to protest for the release and the reunification of the abducted girls with their families, were arrested. They went to court to challenge, that harassment by the Nigeria police. And then what we have learned today is that court says it was wrong for the Nigeria police to have disrupted and not allowed them stage that protest. Then they have awarded Melaye and his group a 150,000 as compensation for wrongfully arresting them. Now, I would like to admonish that Nigeria police needs to do more in being responsible when it comes to crisis management. We had seen Nigeria police tear gassed even the convoy of a governor. We have seen them, force imprison a serving governor in Rivers. The other one I was referring to happened in Ekiti. So something tells us that Nigeria police still need to do more whenever there is a crisis. Because they need to remove themselves from politics,
because
and then be able to perform their constitutional role without fear or favor.
Because the perception we have about the Nigerian police is that they are very intelligent, group of people, especially in that rank of a commandant, from sergeant upward, inspector from inspector to AIGs and all of that. Very, very intelligent people. But we keep hearing, some awkward
report
about them.
Yes, it will happen.
That's very, very worrisome.
It will it will happen in a society where you have frustrations all around. I mean, the average Nigerian police is dissatisfied with the system is serving. You understand? And the spillover effect of that is that it vents its anger on the people he's supposed to be protecting.
All right.
So that is just what is happening in Nigeria. So we need to do more in trying to tell them that the guns they carry, the uniform they wear, are bought with our tax monies, and then their constitutional rule is to protect us and not to fight us.
A very important message there to the Nigerian police. The Chibok Girls Court declares the disruption of protests illegal. Now, where do we likely to see these tomorrow in the dailies?
Okay, this will go to the front page because that's to do with the abduction of those girls and people getting judgment against the action of the Nigerian police.
Now let's move away from that quickly right now to the next one breaking. This one says Egypt collaborating against terrorism in Nigeria, according to the ambassador Ashraf Salamade.
Ashraf Salam spent some time in Nigeria. He understands the Nigerian system, and so he could make reference to Nigeria's civil war and the support of the Anwar Sadat government for Nigeria in the 70s. And he's very rich, because I listened to the text of his message. He's very rich in the history of Nigeria and Nigeria's collaboration with the Egyptian government. And now he has promised that the Egyptian government have lent, a hand to trying to help Nigeria in the location of the abducted schoolgirls and then the fight against insurgency. We know that the fight against insurgency has gone global.
Exactly.
Every other nation want to say, oh, Nigeria, we want to help you. Nigeria too has been a very, very unique global partner. We have, sent peace mission across the world. And of course, I remember the 6-day Arab War, which included the Israelis and the Egyptians. Nigerians were solidly behind the rehabilitation of Egypt as a nation, and Nigeria contributed to the peace in the Middle East. So if Egypt is offering Nigeria a helping hand in fighting insurgency, I think it is well placed.
So we also will see these on the first page, or be talking inside
no. It has to do with insurgency and then foreign assistance for us to fight insurgency. So you still find that on the front page as well.
Now let's move away from that now. This one is dog politics now. Peace meeting collapses after abroad. The last we heard is that the speaker was suspended, and this time around we had some of those suspended members of the House came together and they had a meeting even without the mates, in the absence of the mates. Now
you see,
this seems to be dramatic because there seems to be some impunity here, even though we do not know exactly.
Well, you call it impunity, but I probably want to look at it as politics. Okay. I said it here on the table here yesterday that when we announced that 5 members who were suspended from the Edo State House of Assembly broke into the chambers and then suspended in return the speaker. Now, what I want to say is that I have said there on several occasions that the kind of politics the Edo State government is playing, I think the governor should tread softly. This is about my opting time of saying this, because these people were members of APC. They defected, and the governor went on air to say, oh, they collected 50 million to defect to BDP. Now, we have seen series of disagreement between governor and his immediate special assistant, governor and his party member, and the leadership of the party. So there is something wrong somewhere within the fold of the ruling party in Edo State, and that has
to come to an end.
Now, another question we should be asking is, when does the national body of a party, a political party, intervene in a state matter or in a state politics, especially if if that place or that state is controlled by his party? Now, because PDP has its constitution, APC has its constitution, and every other parties as well has their own constitution. And so when does it matter?
The power game.
When exactly should, because we have the same crisis in Ogun State, and now we're having it in Edo State.
You see, naturally,
the leadership of the party intervene.
Naturally, the leader of the party in any state should be the governor.
Okay.
Just as we're going to say, okay, the leader of any ruling party in the country should be the president. So he has a domineering influence on others. So even if the national body of any party is going to intervene in a crisis, the governor will have a stake.
Okay.
And that's why the governor must act in a fatherly role to carry others along. And that's what is going to be responsible. That is what we're going to expect from somebody who wants peace. Do you understand?
All right.
So the part also now that we're witnessing is between a speaker, the speaker Uyi Igbe, who of course appears to be an ally of the governor, and then we have on the other hand the deputy speaker, Festus Ebia,
all right,
and who appears to be disagreeing with, you know, the Oshomola-led government at all times. So what should be discretionary here, and you know, what should have been done if I were in the shoes of the governor, is to find a way of, you know, aligning the two, and then putting peace in place, because as it is, the fortunes of APC no doubt will be affected
in that state,
Edo State, if things or issues continue,
and
like
especially that we have 2015 general
just around the
coming. Now, a very important story. Where do we likely to see these? Do we see it making the major?
It has made
making
the
major
headlines.
This story tomorrow.
Yes, it has made the front page today. That Edo suspended Edo House of Assembly member equally suspend, you know, the speaker. So this is a follow-up.
Interesting,
yes.
even without the
maize,
presence of the maize or
the symbol of authority. They don't care.
Which is the symbol of authority.
They don't care.
Interesting.
So,
now let's move away from that now and move straight away to the next story breaking here. Diezani loses bid for OPEC job, and of course, you know, as at this moment, she's still facing
10 billion naira jet scandal,
of course she lost out anyway, but it was the president that nominated her to be the next secretary general.
It's a big embarrassment for Nigeria. You know why I said so? Now, the president nominated her to become the secretary general of OPEC, you know, jettisoning all her scandals, everything that is trailing her personality at the moment. And you know, excuse me, the world is a global village. Everybody around the world is aware of the crisis she is in.
All right.
And her current battle to account for 10 billion naira of Nigeria's oil money spent on hiring a jet for her. Now she's in and out of the court, and then she went to the international body. That body is a 12-member nation. The man that has been there is a Libyan, Abdullah Al-Badri, and he's been there for a while now. You know, he had wanted to retire since 2012. This is 2014.
And he's still there.
Yes. And it shows you that nobody even contested the position. But the choice of Alisi Madueke is not acceptable to them. The world is a global village. Everybody is aware of what dogs are personality. So they will not want to put, you know, somebody with a tainted record to say, okay, come and be Secretary General.
I see the reason why she probably lost out in that. Very interesting story. Do you see these also making the headlines on the front page?
Very well. OPEC is a very important organization to Nigeria. They give us a quota to produce. OPEC accounts for 2 of 3 oil barrels produced in the world. OPEC is a very, very economically important, body. You remember Lukman Rilwan was the oil minister in Nigeria, and he was Secretary General. And we've had, Secretary Generals from Nigeria who became Secretary General of OPEC.
All right.
So this is a very important story that she lost out, and that shows that, there's something she needs to do as regards her personality and as regards the allegations that she's facing currently in Nigeria.
Okay, so that's it. The making the headlines tomorrow. Well, let's move away from that. This report says Akunyili's body received in Abuja, of course, in company of her husband and of course her brother as well, Dr. Chike Akunyili. That's the husband.
Yeah, Akunyili's body arrives in Abuja in a private jet, an air ambulance to be precise, and the burial arrangement will commence. All I want to say is that she has served Nigeria very well, and Komion will continue to pour in. The burial arrangement will not lack anything. Nigeria's government is going to be fully involved, and most of what we've had now, people pouring in encomium on her. I mean, this should have come. For me, this should have come when the woman was very sick. I mean, it came to the public very ill. Yeah, exactly. And so I think the government should have even taken up battling for her life. In the United States, many have been diagnosed of terminal illnesses, and the government is managing it. You remember a boxer, Muhammad Ali. He's been living with Parkinson's syndrome in the last 30 years. Magic Johnson is there. He was diagnosed of having HIV. He only played basketball for the American Dream Team, and he's still alive after about close to 20 years of diagnosis. So I feel Nigeria should begin to manage the lives of their heroes properly, rather than just eulogizing them at death.
So we see it on the front page of the dailies.
Absolutely, tomorrow.
Well, away from that now, and then when we come back from break exactly, well, the Chief Defense Staff, Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade, has urged all government financial institutions to be more proactive in tracking, of course, the fund of terrorists all over the world. Now, that's this a message coming from Alex Bade. We'll give you details, of course, in the course of analysis when we come back from this short break. This is News Judgment. We'll be back.
Come June 21, it will be decision day for the people of Ekiti. 18 candidates all gunning for one seat.
I am the next governor of Ekiti.
But the people will have the final say.
I know that tolerance has a very big place.
Join extensive coverage of the election and get up to the many details as development unfolds.
I'm the voice of the Ekiti people.
With expert analysis from the best political team on television.
And that's honesty of island.
Join us all day June 21 to find out who emerges the next governor of Ekiti State.
We have agreed to move this state forward.
Keep a date with us on Core TV News. You can also watch us live on our website on www.coretvnews.com, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you on News Judgment. If you're just joining us, we're broadcasting live from our studios here in Lagos, Nigeria. Well, just before we went on break, the CDS have asked government agencies to track terrorist funds. That's coming from Chief Marshal Alex Bade.
Well, I think the Chief of Defense Staff talks so much. Well, everybody knows that in fighting terrorism, you need to track their fund and then block their funding. That's when they will never have money to equip themselves. When the American government wanted to fight terrorism, it was the funding, and that's why they are taking money laundering very seriously. because they do not want funds to get to terrorist groups, and people involved in arms proliferation. So I do not think that Alex Bade should be telling us this. I think international bodies should be much more proactive and involved, in tracking terrorist fund. If terrorists don't have fund, they can never carry about 50 vehicles to come and take away our girls. They will never have money to buy guns to fight us and kill our soldiers. So that's just the truth. He's just telling us the obvious, and we want to thank him for that announcement.
Oh, interesting, but maybe he just been, of course, trying to say, okay, I know my job, what my job entails. I need to inform the government.
I think
you need to start tracking.
If you ask me,
maybe
I think
that
you should be
major
talking
problem.
Less.
Okay, when do we see this coming tomorrow? On the dailies? Do we have it talk inside the newspaper?
It will go inside the newspaper because it's just talking about the obvious tracking of the terrorist funds.
Let's move away from that quickly. Moving to the next one here, and this one says Nigeria, US others set up external intelligence unit. That has to do with the Boko Haram, and of course,
it's very important story. It's as a fallout of the Paris summit that was called by the president of France, Francois Hollande, and in that meeting, Cameroon was there, Chad, Niger Republic, Nigeria, and the center of discussion was the insurgents attacks in Nigeria and how to put an end to it. And then we see that Cameroon has moved, because Cameroonian government, they say, killed about 50 Boko Haram members during the course of fighting in the week. So we'll see that the external intelligence unit will comprise of all these countries, including the US, the UK, which are the world powers, and then we have all our neighboring countries coming together to share intelligence report, and that will give us a very formidable front against Boko Haram and other insurgent attacks that we have in the country. I think it's very important. I think it will go to the front page tomorrow, as we see.
Well, that will go to the front page tomorrow, like Dan Alo has said. Very important story now. Before we go, let's quickly treat this story. This is on World Cup, Brazil World Cup. Police plan surveillance of viewing centers. You know how Nigerians will love football. What the only activity that I know that brings us together as one is football. And then, of course, we're going to have viewing centers across the federation. And so, how important is this on the dailies tomorrow? And I think I just want to believe that throughout this World Cup, there will be no casualty in terms of bomb blasts and all of that.
You know what happened? A viewing center was attacked in Jos, and people lost their lives very recently. I think a couple of weeks back. And then the police are now saying, okay, in surveillance centers, in viewing centers rather, people should be aware of who and who comes in to watch football. It's not everybody that is coming to watch football. So we need to be very careful of who and who we go and sit down with to say we're watching football. And I think this is a very timely information for us to be very careful, because we seem to forget security when it comes to football. Our passion takes over. We put security issues aside, but this, we are told, is not right. Our safety and those operating viewing centers, the safety of their clients should be primary to them. They should know who and who coming to watch football is carrying on them. IEDs are easy to carry and detonate.
And then maybe one of the I think the important lesson here is that everyone should ensure that you stay at home, watch, instead of going to viewing center. Though we love the fun. Most of the fun of it comes when
if you don't stay at
when
home,
you go to the viewing center with your friends and they want to watch.
The viewing center, what this place is saying is that those who operate viewing centers should take the primary responsibility of ensuring security. and I think it's important.
Okay, where do you see this?
This may also go to the second page as it has to do with our security and our safety, because tomorrow the world will launch itself headlong into World Cup, and every Nigerian is an ardent follower.
How they have the organizers of this 2014 World Cup have organized a very interesting and exciting activities at the opening of the World Cup tomorrow.
In less than 12 hours, we will see all of those.
Well, Dan, thank you for being part of the show tonight. It's been a wonderful,
thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Well, that's much we can go today on News Judgment tonight. Well, let's do it again tomorrow. I am Frank on Malape. Have a good night rest.
Top story. The Democratic Party from the state this Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan of the referendum